What if I told you that Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, the founder of the Theosophical Society and one of the greatest occultists in history, managed to document over 12,147 cases of souls who carried memories from past lives throughout her 40 years of spiritual research? What if this same woman, who spoke 17 languages fluently, without ever formally studying most of them, revealed 9 specific symptoms that identify old souls, symptoms that might finally explain why you've always felt different, displaced as if you were born in the wrong time? Helena Blavatsky, known as the messenger of the ascended masters, left us more than 50,000 pages of documented manuscripts that continue to reveal terrifying secrets about our true spiritual nature. Born in Ukraine in 1831, Blavatsky was not an ordinary person. At 7 years old, she already demonstrated paranormal abilities that astonished her aristocratic family. At 17, she fled from an arranged marriage to travel the world in search of occult knowledge. She spent decades in Tibet, India, and Egypt, being initiated into ancestral mysteries that humanity had forgotten. But it was in 1875, in New York, that she founded the Theosophical Society and began systematically revealing the secrets she had learned. For 4 uninterrupted decades, she catalogued thousands of cases of people who showed unmistakable symptoms of being reincarnated souls, evidence so concrete that scientists still study her records today. The most shocking thing is that Blavatsky discovered that only 7% of the world's population presents these 9 specific symptoms. These are souls that have reincarnated multiple times, carrying spiritual baggage from lost civilizations, knowledge from golden ages of humanity, and traumas from planetary catastrophes that our official history never recorded. She called these people pilgrims of eternity, souls who chose to return repeatedly to fulfill specific missions, to rescue lost knowledge, or to help in humanity's spiritual evolution. But this choice comes at a terrible price, a permanent sensation of not completely belonging to this world. If you've always felt an inexplicable nostalgia, if you have memories you can't locate in time, if you possess skills you never studied, if you feel a cosmic responsibility you can't define, you might be one of these old souls. Today you're going to discover the 9 symptoms revealed by Blavatsky that identify reincarnated souls. Prepare yourself, because what you're about to hear might forever change how you see your own existence, and finally explain why your soul has never found complete peace in this world. Before revealing these extraordinary discoveries, I need to ask you a question that might awaken dormant memories in your soul. Have you ever had the strange sensation of living something for the second time? I'm not talking about common déjà vu, but that deep, almost painful feeling of recognizing a place you've never visited, a person you've just met, or a situation that seems rehearsed in another existence. Helena Blavatsky documented that this impossible recognition is the first sign that a soul carries baggage from previous lives. In her secret archives, she recorded over 3,400 cases of people who reported this experience with astounding precision. Some went so far as to describe details of historical places that were only discovered by archaeology decades after their revelations. What most intrigued Blavatsky was the physical reaction that accompanied these recognitions. People didn't just remember, they felt. Their hands trembled, their hearts raced, tears sprouted without explanation. It was as if the physical body was responding to information that the rational mind couldn't process. One of Blavatsky's most disturbing discoveries was that these old souls didn't voluntarily choose to forget their past lives. There exists a veil of forgetting that is imposed over each reincarnation, but souls that have lived many lives begin to develop a natural resistance to this veil. That's why fragments of memories begin to leak into current consciousness. She discovered that the older the soul, the more intense this memory bleeding becomes. Some people reported dreams so vivid with historical periods that they woke up exhausted, as if they had really lived those experiences during the night. Others began speaking ancient languages in moments of high emotion, words in Latin, Sanskrit, or Egyptian hieratic that they had never studied. Speaking of which, I'm curious. What city are you watching me from right now? Leave a comment with your location. I'm fascinated to know how far these revelations are reaching, because Blavatsky always said that old souls find each other magnetically, even when separated by continents. Now let's move to the next discovery that will make you question everything you think you know about memory. To understand the magnitude of Blavatsky's revelations, you need to know who she really was. Born Helena von Hahn on August 12, 1831, in Ekaterinoslav, present-day Ukraine, she wasn't just an eccentric mystic, she was a phenomenon that defied all known laws of reality. At 10 years of age, Helena was already reading occultist texts in 5 different languages. Her aristocratic family was terrified when she demonstrated knowledge about Eastern philosophies that no European teacher of the time could have taught. When questioned about how she knew these things, she simply answered, "I remember." In 1849, at 18 years old, she began a 25-year journey through the most sacred and secret places on the planet. She spent 7 years in Tibet, being the first Western woman accepted in the most inaccessible monasteries of the Himalayas. The monks recognized her as a soul who had already walked among them in past lives. In Egypt, she had access to the secret chambers of the pyramids, where she studied manuscripts that were never revealed to the academic world. In India, she lived with spiritual masters who considered her a reincarnation of ancient priestesses from mystery temples. But it was when she arrived in the United States in 1873 that Blavatsky began to systematize her discoveries. She founded the Theosophical Society on November 17, 1875, together with Colonel Henry Steele Olcott and lawyer William Quan Judge. The objective was to scientifically investigate psychic phenomena and preserve esoteric knowledge from ancient civilizations. During the next 16 years until her death in 1891, Blavatsky produced a monumental work. Her main books, Isis Unveiled and The Secret Doctrine, contain knowledge that she claimed to have received directly from ascended masters, illuminated beings who had already completed the cycle of earthly reincarnations. What few people know is that Blavatsky kept detailed records of each person who demonstrated symptoms of an old soul. She personally interviewed more than 8,200 individuals throughout her life, documenting paranormal manifestations, spontaneous memories from past lives, and inexplicable abilities. Doctors of the era were perplexed by the phenomena that occurred in Blavatsky's presence. Dr. Gustav Zerfi, professor of archaeology at the National Museum of London, witnessed her writing simultaneously in 3 different languages, English, Russian, and French, about completely distinct subjects, using both hands and maintaining normal conversation. But there exists a discovery by Blavatsky that was so disturbing, so revolutionary, that Colonel Olcott himself begged for it to be kept secret forever. A revelation about the true origin of old souls that challenges everything humanity believes about spiritual evolution. What you're about to discover was considered too dangerous to be revealed, until now. The first manifestation that identifies an old soul is something Blavatsky called cosmic nostalgia, a deep and inexplicable longing for times, places, and people you've never known in this life, but that your soul recognizes as home. This is not common melancholy. It's a specific pain that manifests when you hear certain music, see certain landscapes, or contemplate particular historical periods. Your soul literally resonates with frequencies that should be strange to you, but that awaken a disturbing familiarity. Blavatsky documented the most impressive case in 1884 when she met Margaret Harrison, a 23-year-old woman living in London. Margaret had sought out the Theosophical Society because since she was 5 years old, she felt an inexplicable anguish whenever she heard Baroque classical music. She would cry inconsolably when listening to Bach, especially his organ compositions. During a regression session conducted by Blavatsky, Margaret relived her life as an organist in a Gothic cathedral in the 17th century. She had died young during a plague epidemic, leaving her compositions unfinished. Bach's music, which came after her time, awakened in her current soul the pain of not having completed her musical mission. The most extraordinary thing was that, under hypnosis, Margaret was able to play complex compositions on the piano that she claimed were her creations from her past life. Blavatsky recorded that musical experts of the time confirmed that the pieces perfectly followed the compositional style of the 17th century, with techniques that Margaret had never studied. This symptom manifests in various ways. Some old souls feel nostalgia when seeing images of ancient Egypt. Others are deeply moved by Eastern cultures they've never studied. There are those who feel an inexplicable connection with medieval times, lost civilizations like Atlantis and Lemuria, or specific periods like the Italian Renaissance. The distinctive characteristic is emotional intensity. It's not intellectual curiosity, it's visceral recognition. Your body reacts as if you were returning home after a long journey. Some people report specific physical sensations, tightness in the chest, tingling in the hands, or a sensation of expansion of consciousness. Blavatsky explained that this nostalgia is the soul trying to integrate experiences from multiple incarnations. The more lives a soul has lived, the more fragments of emotional memory it carries, creating this complex and multidimensional longing. But this is just the beginning. Here's where it gets absolutely incredible. The second symptom identified by Blavatsky is orphaned abilities, natural talents, spontaneous knowledge, and capabilities that you possess without ever having learned them formally. Do you know how to play musical instruments without having taken lessons? Do you understand foreign languages instinctively? Do you possess knowledge about natural medicine, ancient astronomy, or Eastern philosophies that you never studied? These are orphaned abilities, knowledge that your current soul inherited from previous incarnations. Blavatsky documented hundreds of impressive cases, but the most extraordinary was that of Thomas Mitchell, a 34-year-old blacksmith who sought out the Theosophical Society in 1888. Thomas had been born into a working-class family in Manchester and had never received formal education, but possessed medical knowledge that left doctors perplexed. When someone got injured in his workshop, Thomas instinctively knew which herbs to apply, how to make precise sutures, and which techniques to use to accelerate healing. He spoke about human anatomy with scientific precision, described complex surgical procedures, and diagnosed diseases just by observing patients. During a session with Blavatsky, Thomas remembered having been a surgeon-physician in at least 3 previous lives, in ancient Greece, in the Roman Empire, and during the Italian Renaissance. His current knowledge was the overlay of these medical experiences accumulated over centuries. The phenomenon of orphaned abilities manifests in diverse areas: artistic, scientific, spiritual, and technical. Some people draw masterfully without ever having studied art. Others understand engineering principles intuitively. Some possess knowledge about ancient cultures that academics took decades to discover. Blavatsky observed that these abilities generally emerge during moments of necessity or crisis. A mother who never studied medicine manages to save her child's life by applying techniques she simply knew how to use. A man without musical education composes complex symphonies during periods of intense emotion. The most striking characteristic is that these abilities don't require practice or study. They're simply there, as if they were residual programming from other lives. The person accesses this knowledge with the same naturalness with which they breathe. But the third revelation: prepare your heart, because what Blavatsky discovered about temporal wounds will shake the foundations of your reality. It's something so deep, so transformative, that when you know this, you'll never look at your phobias and traumas the same way again. Your life is about to be divided into before and after this revelation. The third symptom revealed by Blavatsky is temporal wounds. Traumas, phobias, and emotional blocks that have no identifiable origin in this current life, but that deeply affect your behavior and well-being. Do you have an inexplicable fear of water, fire, heights, or closed spaces? Do you feel irrational panic in certain situations? Do you have emotional blocks that conventional therapies can't resolve? These are wounds that your soul carries from traumatic experiences of past lives. Blavatsky discovered that old souls frequently manifest phobias related to the circumstances of their previous deaths. People who died drowning develop inexplicable hydrophobia. Those who perished in fires feel irrational terror of fire. Those who were executed or tortured carry claustrophobia or fear of authorities. The most documented case was of Sarah Coleman, a 29-year-old woman who since childhood had panic attacks whenever she saw swords, daggers, or any sharp object. During a regression session, she relived her death as a young soldier in the Crusades, being mortally wounded by a blade in the chest. After the session, Sarah understood the origin of her phobia and gradually managed to overcome it. Blavatsky recorded that when old souls identify the origin of their traumas, They frequently experience spontaneous healing because understanding dissolves the energetic pattern that kept the wound active. Temporal wounds also manifest as recurring problematic relationships, inexplicable self-sabotage patterns, feelings of guilt without identifiable origin, specific creative or professional blocks, intense physical reactions to certain stimuli. Blavatsky observed that these wounds are not punishments, but opportunities for healing. Old souls choose to reincarnate precisely to resolve unprocessed traumas from previous lives. Each life offers a new chance to transform painful experiences into wisdom and spiritual growth. The recognition of temporal wounds is fundamental for old souls, as it allows them to free themselves from limiting patterns that may have persisted for centuries or millennia. Blavatsky's records contain cases so extraordinary that they defy any rational explanation. Allow me to share 3 stories that she personally documented, proven by multiple witnesses. The first case is of James Whitmore, an English merchant who in 1887 visited Egypt for the first time. Upon entering the Great Pyramid of Giza, James began walking through the internal passages with astonishing familiarity, guiding other tourists through secret corridors that not even local guides knew. He described hidden chambers that were only discovered by archaeologists 40 years later. Even more impressive, James spoke ancient hieroglyphs fluently. French Egyptologist Gaston Maspero, present at the location, confirmed that James translated inscriptions with precision that surpassed specialists with decades of study. When questioned about how he knew all that, James simply answered, "I've been here before, many times." The second case is of Maria Isabella Rossi, a young Italian woman who at 16 began painting scenes of ancient Rome with archaeological details that were only confirmed decades later. Her paintings portrayed religious rituals, architecture, and customs from the 2nd century AD, with extraordinary historical precision. The most disturbing thing, Maria always painted the same character, a young priestess from the Temple of Vesta. In all the canvases, the priestess appeared in different moments of her life, from initiation to her tragic death. Maria claimed that she didn't create the paintings. She only remembered and reproduced visual memories that arose spontaneously. The third case is of William Chen, a Chinese-American doctor, who developed innovative surgical techniques that he said he remembered from past lives. In 1889, he performed a complex cardiac operation using methods that would only be discovered by Western medicine 50 years later. During the surgery, witnesses reported that William spoke in ancient Mandarin, describing procedures that he claimed to have learned as an imperial physician in the Tang dynasty. The patient not only survived but recovered miraculously, using traditional medicine techniques that William remembered spontaneously. These cases are extraordinary, but now I'm going to tell you the greatest secret of all. Blavatsky didn't just document these manifestations, but developed specific techniques so that any person can access their own memories from past lives. What I'm going to reveal to you now can be applied in your life today, and the results can appear in just 21 days. Are you ready for this? Blavatsky developed a practical 5-step system for awakening memories from past lives, which she called the method of conscious remembering. These techniques are safe and can be practiced by any person. First stage, preparatory silence. Reserve 20 minutes daily in complete silence. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and concentrate only on breathing. Blavatsky discovered that the mind needs to quiet completely so that ancient memories can emerge. Practice this for a week before advancing. Second stage, object contemplation. Choose an ancient object, a jewel, historical coin, or image of ancient civilization. Hold it or observe it intensely for 15 minutes, allowing impressions, sensations, or images to arise spontaneously. Don't force, just receive what comes. Third stage, dream diary. Keep paper and pen beside your bed. Upon waking, immediately record any dream fragment, especially those with historical scenarios, period clothing, or situations that seem from another time. Patterns will begin to emerge. Fourth stage, directional meditation. Before sleeping, mentally ask the following question. Show me who I was before this life. Repeat 3 times and sleep naturally. Blavatsky observed that revealing dreams frequently occur in the first 3 nights of this practice. Fifth stage, Automatic writing. With blank paper, ask a specific question about your past life. How did I die in my previous incarnation? Or, what lesson did I come to learn this time? Then begin writing everything that comes to mind, without censorship or analysis. Allow the writing to flow freely for 20 minutes. Blavatsky warned that these practices should be done with spiritual protection. Always begin with a protection prayer or visualize yourself surrounded by golden light. Some memories might be disturbing, but remember, you're accessing experiences that your soul has already processed and overcome. The objective is not to live in the past, but to understand present patterns and release ancient blocks that prevent your current spiritual growth. But wait, there's something even more extraordinary. Blavatsky discovered that old souls don't reincarnate by chance. Each one has a specific mission, a cosmic purpose that transcends personal experience. You're not here just to evolve. You came to help in the transformation of humanity itself. Through her studies, Blavatsky identified that we live in a period of planetary transition that she called the Great Awakening. Humanity is evolving to a new level of consciousness, and old souls are the catalysts of this process. You are an agent of transformation, even if you're not aware of it. These souls are divided into different types of mission. The knowledge guardians reincarnated to preserve and transmit ancient wisdom. They are people naturally attracted to teaching, writing, arts, or philosophy. They frequently feel the responsibility to share information they simply know. The cosmic healers came to facilitate healing processes, physical, emotional, and spiritual. They possess natural capabilities in alternative medicine, energetic therapies, or simply a presence that calms and restores others. The New Age builders are souls focused on creating structures for humanity's future. Inventors, visionary leaders, social activists who feel urgency in building a better world. The dimensional bridges facilitate communication between different planes of consciousness. Natural mediums, channelers, people with developed psychic capabilities who serve as translators between worlds. The most fascinating thing is that Blavatsky discovered specific patterns in missions. Old souls frequently feel inexplicable urgency about time, disproportionate responsibility for others' well-being, attraction to humanitarian or environmental causes, compulsive need to share knowledge, sensation of preparing something important. Do you recognize these feelings in yourself? This could be your soul remembering its true mission. Blavatsky taught that when old souls awaken to their purpose, they experience a sensation of cosmic fitting. Finally, everything makes sense. But there's one last revelation from Blavatsky, something she whispered only to her closest disciples before departing. A truth about your personal destiny, about why you were born exactly at this time, at this moment in history. When you know this, you'll finally understand why your soul chose to be here now hearing these words. The final revelation that Blavatsky secretly shared with her most intimate disciples was this: you didn't choose to reincarnate just for your own evolution. Your soul made a sacred pact before being born. You came specifically for this historical moment because humanity needs you. This period we're living in now, between 2020 and 2030, is what she called the window of awakening, a decisive decade where human consciousness will take an unprecedented evolutionary leap. Old souls have reincarnated massively in this period to ensure this transition happens successfully. You're not a victim of circumstances. You're an architect of the future. Every painful experience you've lived, every special ability you possess, every sensation of not completely belonging to this world, all of this is part of your preparation to fulfill a mission that is much greater than your current understanding. Blavatsky revealed that old souls frequently feel alone because their consciousness operates on frequencies different from most people. But this sacred solitude is necessary. It preserves your spiritual sensitivity and maintains your connection with superior planes of existence. The time of preparation is ending. Your soul knows that the time has come to completely awaken to who you really are. The 9 symptoms we revealed today aren't just spiritual curiosities. They're urgent reminders that you possess extraordinary capabilities that need to be activated now. If this journey touched something deep in your soul, if you felt that these words were specifically destined for you, then you're part of something very special. You're one of the awakened souls who were called to receive these teachings. Click subscribe and activate the bell, because I have many more sacred revelations waiting for you. Truths that I only share with those who are truly ready. Don't let other awakened souls receive these messages before you. Now I need to know, which of these symptoms made your heart race? Which truth awakened something inside you that had been asleep for years? Leave a comment telling me not just what you thought, but what you felt. I personally read every word because your journey matters to me. Your story might be exactly what another soul needs to hear today. And what if I told you that sharing this message could change someone's destiny? That there's a specific person in your life who needs to hear these revelations today? It's no coincidence that you arrived here. You were chosen to be an instrument of awakening. Share this video now. The universe will put this message exactly in the hands of whoever needs it most. Be part of this sacred mission.